Testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello, guys. Hello, hello. And remove that. Hi, there we go. So I should be live right now. Check. Yep. So some people watching. Hi, how are you doing? Jukara, hello. How are you doing? So today we're going to be making the hotkey bar episode, the lesson regarding the hotkey bar. I'm going to, and I see now you're just seeing what I'm seeing there. Okay, let me go back to Unity. I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. So we did the pickup items before, and this is the first time I'm making a live lesson. So I hope everything will go well, because usually when I make a lesson, I have to re-record it like 2 or 3 times. So I did it already once, so I know it works, and I know I won't go into like a hole or something. So I made this bar here. It's very similar to our inventory, and when I walk over a potion, you see I pick it up. So I could right click on it to use it, but I also can place it on my hotkey bar. That's the key, the key number 1. So if I press 1 on my keyboard, you see I use the potion. And if I put it, like, I don't know, in 1 and also in 3 at the same time, and I press 3, you see that I used it and it depleted everywhere. So it actually took me a long time to make this. It's not easy, so I hope we can do this in about half an hour. And if you have questions while I'm live streaming this lesson, please let me know. I'm reading your comments on the right here, and if the comments actually disturb you from seeing my inspector or anything on my window, let me know so I can move them around and or place them somewhere else. So I'm gonna begin by showing you here. This is the version I already made. After I show you how I did it, we're going to do it on the previous version, that is the one I uploaded on the last episode, where we could pick different items. So here, the first thing I did, I duplicated the inventory and created this based on that. It's called the hotkey bar. I don't know if you can, if it's big enough, you can read it. Let me make it a little bit bigger. No, not this one. Wait a second, please. This one. The hotkey bar, I just made it same as the inventory, but I place it down there, and I made a hotkey bar script. So let's go to the hotkey bar script. You'll see that I have a hotkeys string, and that's the string that we can actually use to set the keys that we want to use for activating our hotkey slots. So some video games, they use 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to 9 and 0, right? Like let's say World of Warcraft. Some other games, like mobile games, they use 1, 2, 3, and then they use Q, W, E, R, T, or etc., D, F, whatever. So it might not necessarily be a number. It can be also a letter. Like here, I wanted to make an example, so I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, R, F. So I can use R and F to, I don't know, use 2 other slots for skills or whatever, and then 0. So this is my hotkeys string. This is the keys I can use to activate my hotkeys. What else did I do? I also modified, I think it was the input manager. So I'm gonna find input manager. So in the input manager, you see here we have this part, use hotkeys. So basically I just call the instance from the hotkey bar and use a hotkey, and I just pass a parameter of what we got here. If you remember, before we used to get the input of the letters that we were pressing, that was done here. We used something called input string. Input string actually holds whatever the player is typing on its keyboard. So if I quickly type ASDF, this input string is going to show that. So if I get the input string, the first element is always going to be the first, oh, that was a little bit too loud, is always going to be the first key that I press on my keyboard. So that's how we can get what key we're pressing. Let me fix my microphone a little bit. It's a little bit too low. All right. So you guys can hear me properly, right? I think so. Otherwise, you guys will be just like, "Hey, I can't hear you." If anyone is watching. Yeah, there's 5 people watching. Hi, guys. So, let me go back to Unity. Well, the other thing we have to see is here. I have the hotkey bar. So I have the use hotkey function. So as you saw, I gave an index. So this index, when I use this index, I'm actually finding what letter we're using from this string. So this string is actually just an array of letters, right? And this here, we have an array of hotkeys. The hotkeys can be used, and they will call the function or the item that they have within them. So let me show you how they look like. So here we have the hotkeys, and each of them has an icon, has a quantity text, and this is the hotkey. So it's basically like a button, but it also has a script called hotkey. And I need to drink some water. You excuse me. All right, as I was saying, we have an array of hotkeys here, all the way from 1 to 9. So basically what we will be doing is I compare the input string. So let's say I press the key 3, I get 3. Then in my hotkey string, I search the index of 3. So if the index of 3 is, let's say, in this case is 2, 0, 1, 2, I'm going to use that index here. Then I'm going to find in my hotkeys, which are all those hotkeys here, I'm going to find the 0, 1, 2, so the third hotkey, and I'm going to call its function from here. So if we go to this script, you'll see that hotkeys have, they are their own class. They have something called iUsable. So I made iUsables instead of items because maybe we can have something like a skill or some other different things that we can still use, we can still place on the hotkeys, but at the same time we want to use them just like we would use an item or something else. So I'm just showing you overall all this. Later maybe you can skip the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes of this video, but use usable here. And then refresh. Refresh is so what we can actually see if we use an item and we had it in our hotkey bar, we can remove it from there. And this is what happens. So something like that. So that's pretty much everything that I think I have to show you. Here we have one more case here. So before we used to drag, this is the inventory controller. So before we used to drag items, let me do it again so I can show you. We used to be able to drag items around, right? So let's say this potion, I could drag it into another slot. But now we also want to see if we're dragging it onto a hotkey. So I'm going to drag it like that, and you see I can place it. So that is also going to be something that we're going to do here, just like this. And I think there is one more thing. Yes, so item is not iUsable, it's iClickable, but HP Potion is iUsable, meaning that we can actually place it on a hotkey, we can use it. So HP Potion is going to be iUsable, and it's going to have a function called use, of course. It already had I'm not sure if wait, let me show. Yeah, use. So it's going to override a function called use, and it's going to use the base.use and deplete, and at this, and also here hotkey bar, the instance, refresh hotkeys. So we're going to refresh our hotkeys, and in case that we already finish, or we need to update the quantity of potions that we have on our inventory, we're going to update that accordingly. So let's go to the version where we haven't done it, and we're going to do it together. And let me know if I'm going too slow, otherwise I'll just do more and talk less. Let me see what you guys think. So hi Chris, the sound is good, thank you. It's good to know that I was talking to you and not just silenced. Okay, so let me first clean this inventory. So now we're going to start doing it. I'm going to start trying to do what I did on my own last time. So I'm going to just go ahead and delete all these sorts that we have here. I'm just going to duplicate this like 20 times. There you go. Oh no, sorry. You see, I always make these kind of mistakes when I'm recording a video, and then I have to like record it again and again and again. But now I can't make these kind of mistakes too often because it's a live video. I cannot just say like, screw this, I'm gonna record it again. So there you go. We have these slots. I'm going to duplicate the inventory, and I'm going to remove this sort here, and I just want 9 slots this time because we're making the hotkey bar. So here I'm gonna call this hotkey bar. If it's too small, please let me know so I can make it bigger. I just call this hotkey bar. I'm going to see how it's placed on the 2D scene. So let me go over here, hotkey bar. So okay, the anchors are at the corners, so I can move it down like this. Can I? It's not working. Okay. Can I just increase the width, or do I have to modify the background? I already forgot. Oh yes, the background is what we need to modify. So because the background is our vertical layout group, so our hotkey bar doesn't need any buttons, so we can delete this, and then the background we can make it much smaller, something like 200 or even less, 180, and the width is going to be something like 1200, and then we're going to place it let me fix this. We're going to place it down here in the middle. The pivot is going to be 0, so that we can actually just place it somewhere like 0 and 50. And why is it the anchor on the side? Oh, sorry, this should be 0.5. So there you go. And now let me get a little bit closer. So these slots here, as you see, they are a grid layout. So you could keep a grid layout, but instead of making a constraint count of 5, you just make it 9, and there you go. And you can give it a little bit more spacing if you want. It's going to be a little bit disaligned, but hey, we're not caring too much about UI right now. So we have these slots here, and there you go. Now we need to rename this to hotkeys. And excuse me, I'm going to remove all of them because I want to rename this hotkey underscore prefab. And since we already have a slot prefab, we're going to place the hotkey prefab next to it. So hotkey prefab, we create a hotkey prefab. I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to keep duplicating until I have 9 of them. Great. I'm gonna keep having a look at my old, not my old, at my new version, so I can actually have an easier time following up with what I did. So okay, next thing that we can do is add a hotkey script to our hotkeys. So here we're going to add hotkey, create an add, and of course we can multiple select add component hotkey. So one last thing here, this is it was an inventory, so it had an inventory controller. Now it's actually a hotkey bar, so we want to create a hotkey bar, and we will call it controller for the sake of being consistent with our past, but you could call it just hotkey bar, and because it's a script, you'll know what it is. So hotkey bar controller, and there we go. Here guys, I need some more water and maybe a coffee, because right now it's like 2 a.m. and I had a really busy day, so I'm sorry if I sound tired or something. So let's start with the input manager. So in the input manager, or let me play this first. I will show you what I mean. I already told you about it. So oh, I have a question in Spanish. So if you don't mind, I'm going to use Spanish to reply it. I'll translate it first. You're not going to upload any more tutorials of this series? Are you just going to make streams? Hola Samuel, voy a subir más tutoriales. Lo que pasa es que como he estado muy ocupado esta semana, no me ha quedado tiempo para editar los videos y grabarlos, así que pensé que tal vez un stream iba a ser más fácil y menos agotador, pero definitivamente voy a seguir subiendo videos en esta serie, y probablemente luego de hacer este stream agarre este mismo video, lo edite y luego lo suba también como un video de los que subo generalmente. I was replying that yes, I'm going to keep uploading videos, like normal videos about this series, and not only streams, but since this week I've been really busy, and I've been really busy with like a lot of things. I'm about to quit my job, as some of you guys know. I didn't have the mood and the time to like edit the videos, so I thought making streams would be easier. De nada, Samuel. You're welcome. It's nice having some Spanish speaking viewers around. So let's continue, guys. As I was saying, you see here in our console, you will see. Let me make it a little bit bigger. How do I make this bigger? I'm not good at. Anyway, I think you can read it there. Input key right now is null, and if in my game I press something like A, you will see input key is A, and if I type ASDF, you'll see A is it has to be like simultaneously. So to my English, I was trying to speak in Spanish for a second. If I press A and S at the same time, you'll see we have S, or 3 keys almost simultaneously. You'll see that they become 1 key. So with this input key, we can actually tell if our player is pressing 1 or 2 or 3, etc. Anything that we want, we can get it in the input key that we have over there. I don't know if you can see it clearly. So let me reset the size of this. Oops. I'm really bad at using this software, OBS. So okay, there you go. So as what I mean is that we can get the input and know exactly what our player is trying to call. So here, if any key down, we're going to take the input string, and this is the new version. Sorry, I need to open it. I need to open it here. Input manager. So we did this long time ago. I think in a few first episodes, maybe 10 some episode. Basically, we want to use that input key to determine what hotkey we have to use. So let me find it. Input key. Here, there we go. So if we input any key, and we will gonna print input key and then the input string. So this is great because we can compare it with a string and then get an index from that string. So let's make the hotkey bar controller. First, I'm going to make a public static hotkey bar controller, and I'm going to call it instance. And this is what we're going to use to access this class from any other class. And I also want to have a public string. I'm going to call it hotkey string. And I'm going to set it right here. So I'm going to set it to something like, so many games use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to use also TYU. So that's, I think that's 9 keys. So we can also use TYU. So how we use this hotkey string to get the index of the slot that we want to call the function from. And let me answer a question from Color Red. Yes, we do have a Discord. I'm going to show it to you right now. So I'm gonna post it on the live chat so you can go see it yourself. There you go, guys. Sorry. As I was saying, this is the hotkey string that we will use to determine what index. So that means which of these slots we want to use. How we do that? Well, here in the input manager, sorry, we already have the input string, we have the hotkey string, so we just need to compare. Input, not input, sorry, I'm too distracted. Hotkey bar controller dot instance dot it was called hotkey string. So we need to check inside this string if there is the input string. So contains, you could use contains, but the problem is contains only returns a boolean. So we actually want to use something called index of. Okay, so index of, what it does, it returns an integer with the index of a string that, if it appears inside our string, is going to return that index. If it's not contained in our string, it's going to return -1. So we're going to use index of. And then we're going to use our input string. This one here. Like that. So right now we can try this. I can simply debug this. Debug.log. No need for that. Maybe we just do the index of no need, just this. The index is, so this should print the index of the key we press in that string. So if I'm going too slow, guys, please let me know. Is it possible to move the incoming chat out of the screen? Yes, it's totally possible. Let me do it right now, because I know it can be quite distracting. Let me try this first, because now we can read here in the console. So we already have this hotkey string. So if I press 1, it should say that if I press 1, the index should be 0. If I press 2, the input key is 2 and the index is 1. If I press T, the index is 6. So we will be able to use the 6th slot here. And by pressing T, Y, U, and everything seems to be working. But there will be one problem, that is if we press, like by accident, I press 1 and Q at the same time. You see the input key became 1Q and then it returned -1. That means it's not contained, nothing that we can call, because it doesn't recognize 1Q. I just accidentally pressed 1 and Q at the same time. There's something very common. So let me move the chat and we're going to continue. Where can I have the chat that you guys don't mind? Something around here? Would it be fine if I put it over here? Or do you want me to make it really thin and I collapse my Unity window a little bit to the left? I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit first. So here I can make it 400, and it's very, very small right now, right there. I just want people to be able to follow up with the chat, because they can't see the chat once the video is not live. So let me know if you want me to make it even smaller. We could just have it down here in the bottom of the screen. How do we prevent from having that problem, which is we press two keys at the same time by accident. Well, it's very simple. Instead of using the whole input string, we will just get the first value. So we're just going to input key is equals to input dot input string 0. So we're just getting the first. Why I can't do this? Can I implicitly convert type? Okay, I know what you mean. So we just need to string. Okay, so we get the first letter of this string and just use that one instead. So here I use input key, and that's it. So then every time we should get the first key only, and we wouldn't be afraid of getting one key or anything else that we press at the same time. Now we have the input key, and with that we can actually get a index. So I'm going to make this actually into an index. Int index hotkey index equals this. Which allows me to now use it in the hotkey bar controller. So in hotkey bar controller, we're going to make a public function sorry, I'm too sleepy, guys. Public void, and we're going to call it use lot. I want to have a look at my other. Yeah, here I could just call it hotkey bar. You can call it hotkey bar controller or whatever you want. Use hotkey. So I'm just gonna copy so we can save some time. I guess you can actually pause the video if you want to follow along, but yes, we use the hotkey and we give an integer as a parameter. So I will go through all this. If the index is greater or equals than 0, and the index is less than the amount of hotkeys that we have, that means we don't want to have an out of bounds exception. We must make sure that the index is within bounds. Then we're going to get the hotkey with that index and use it's usable. Right now we don't have a hotkeys list, so this is an array because lists use count. So you could use an array, you could use a list. That will depend on how you want to do it. I'm gonna see how I did it. Here, hotkeys. I just got all the components in children with a hotkey and added them as an array. So let's do it the same way. Is it public? Yes, it is public. So public hotkey array hotkeys. And here, hotkeys is equals to get component in children. So get component, not component, components is going to get all the components within the hierarchy of this object, and it's going to return it as an array. So I will get all the hotkeys within the hierarchy of this object, which is this here. This is the hotkey bar, right? So it's going to check through all the children and it will say, oh, there's a bunch of hotkeys here. Let's add them as an array. And now we can actually reference them, get them with the index that we have, and use usable. We don't have that function in our hotkey. So let's go and add it for now. Just, you can go here, hotkey, press F12, and we create a public function. Use usable. That's assuming that we're going to have a usable within inside our slot, our hotkey. So use usable. And now this should be all right. So we created these two functions because we were trying to use them from the input manager here. If we press any key, we would check that in the hotkey string, and if we get a corresponding index, we're going to go to the hotkey bar controller.instance, use hotkey, and we want to know which hotkey, which is determined by the index, the hotkey index, sorry, here. So we don't need to keep debugging this again. So there you go. We're trying to use, let's say, the fourth hotkey. So I need to know if there is an usable item within it to use it. So let's go here to hotkey and start setting this, shall we? Let me read the comments first. Color red. Wait, doesn't the chat get recorded now by YouTube? It's a new function, I thought. Sorry if you meant something. Oh, okay. I didn't know that because I haven't been watching live streams in a while. Does it? Let me. I'm gonna quickly check. Please give me less than a minute. I just want to make sure. So if that's the case, we can actually remove. Oh yeah, it does have the chat next to it. Oh, great. I don't need to. Okay, then I don't need to be bothering you guys with the chat on the screen. That's so much better. Why didn't they think about this like 3 years ago? Okay. Does it, wait, is it really? Yes, it records the chat. Okay, and I was checking it here, by the way. Like, for you guys, my screen just froze, but yeah, I was really checking, and it does remember the chat, so I didn't have to put your text all over the screen. Okay, I feel dumb. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to remove the chat. Thank you, Color Red, for your awesome suggestion. Definitely very useful. So we can say bye to the chat. There you go. Now I feel so silly. Okay. We were saying that we are going to use a usable if it's inside our hotkey. Excuse me, I'm drinking some cafe to keep me awake. So first of all, we need to create something that we can determine as something that can be used. So we're not going to make it in the item script because not every item is usable. We're going to create an instance called iUsable for that. So I'm going to go to the scripts. My computer is really slow. Actually, if you didn't know, guys, I work from a laptop because I'm always like traveling sometimes back to my country, back to Hong Kong. So a laptop is something I need. But yeah, here scripts. We're going to, this is not my scripts. That's not my stuff. Here, my scripts. So in interfaces, we have the iClickable interface. We're going to make a new interface, and I'm going to call it iUsable. So iUsable is just a public interface, and it's going to have a function called use. simple as that. I think we can remove all this. Yes. So now we are going to make a current usable here. So iUsable. I'm gonna see, because why not? Hotkey. So okay, we just call it usable. We have a usable, we have a function to set the usable, so we don't have to make it public. So usable is the item that we can use. So if usable is not null, we're going to call usable dot use, and that's basically it for use usable, because usable is going to know how to be used. Let's say we determine what is the usable function like in HP Potion, so it will know how to use itself. I hope I'm making sense. So the other thing we want is set the usable, so we're going to make a public void set usable, and we need a parameter of type iUsable, and we're simply going to say so many usables. Usable equals usable, and probably refresh. We will have a refresh function, void so in that function we're going to refresh the icon and refresh the quantity text and everything else, and that's all based on the usable. So set the usable, and then we refresh once, because when we set the usable, we want to refresh the icon, right? We want to update the icon for the item that we dragged into it. So I need to see this. Wait. Why do I... okay, wait a second. I'm trying to get the chat. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Okay, so let's keep going. How long have we been streaming? Like 30 minutes already. Okay, let's do this quick. Sorry guys, I've been taking too long. So let's make the HP Potion extend iUsable. So iUsable is let me think straight for a second. Sorry guys. I'm just going to compare here. I was much more awake when I did it the last time. So HP Potion here is an iUsable. It can use an item. Also has a function called use. Yes. So okay, my interface still knows that I want to code that one, which is overriding. Okay, that's no problem then. Nice. So here we're back here into the project that we were like the old version that we're updating. The HP Potion now extends the iUsable interface. It already has a function called use, so there's no problem there. So whenever we call the usable, Chris Winslow say he could watch this for hours. So we use the usable, it's going to just call the use function. So now let's set the usable when we drag it on the inventory. So let's go to the inventory controller this time. Inventory controller, or inventory, yes, inventory controller. We want to add a tag here, a compare tag case. So if we drag it into an empty slot, something happens. If we drag it into another item, something else happens. Here I want to do the following. Hotkey. So I'm just going to copy this and then compare the tag if it's a hotkey. We're going to create this tag as well. So let me check here how I made it here. Inventory, oh, there we go, it is here. So you see, this time we don't need to actually set the new parent. We just want to set the usable on our hotkey. So we don't want to set a new parent. We just want to get the hotkey, because right now this result, we compare the tag, so it's a hotkey. So we can actually do result.getComponent. Not directly, we need to get the game object first. So result.gameObject.getComponent. And we called our script hotkey set usable, and we want to set just set it to dragged item, because we're dragging an item, right? We're dragging the potion, so dragged item dot get component iUsable. So if dragged item doesn't have an iUsable, it's going to set it as null, but we don't have to worry about this for now. You could check if it's null here. If this is null, then you just don't do anything. Let's do that later. So can we try this right now? Is it possible for us to try it? I just want to see if any errors is going to pop up. So we get the potion, and I'm just gonna drag it into one slot. So first of all, we already have we have an array index out of range, so that's one problem we have. And then I'm going to try to drop this inside here. I forgot to change the text, so of course the potion is going to treat this as a slot and just let me put it inside there. So let's go to this error first. Okay, the problem here is that I tried to get the first element of the input string, but it happened that when I clicked with my mouse, the input string, it was a null string, so it didn't have any length at all. It didn't even have a first element. So what I can do here is I can do so first we can just set input key as null, and then if input string dot length is greater than 0, then we're going to set the input key. So if the input string is not null, we're going to set the input string to the first element. Otherwise, it's just the input key is just going to be null. And we should get rid of that error. And then the other thing we have to do is get the hotkeys here and change the tag from slot to a tag that we don't have yet, which is the tag here. The tag is oh my god, I'm so sleepy. Hotkey. There you go. So remember to select it again because we actually didn't change it. We just created a tag. Save this and see now if we can actually set the usable on our slot. So I'm going to take the potion, drag it here, and now if I press 1, I use the item. Yeah, there you go, down here. I used the item HP potion and actually it disappeared from our inventory. So we did it. We did it. Now we just need to update the image here and refresh the hotkeys, and there we go. Let me try it one more time. I'm gonna try it with the T. So if I go here, you'll see that I'm going to drag my item to the right, far right. There is a null reference exception and it's totally bugged. Okay, let's try it one more time. I don't know why that error came out. I should have checked it first. I'm going to put it here. Okay, there's the null reference. Result game object that can component hotkey. So maybe the result does not have a hotkey component, so we cannot set a usable. Or the drag item. So okay, wait a second. So you're telling me that all these, okay, only the first one had a hotkey. I didn't actually add to all of them. So actually, I thought the hotkey prefab had the hotkey. No, it doesn't. Okay, if I apply this, then all of them have it. Okay, that was a good error. Minxility. Hello, Minxility. How are you doing? We're almost finished. Now we just need to update our UI. So now I'm gonna drag the potion to the slot here. We don't have the image yet, but now if I press, what was it, T? There you go. The HP potion was used when I pressed T here. Oh, can you see that? I don't know if it's big enough, but yeah. Display capture. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you guys. So, oh no, I can't. How do guys get so good at controlling this? Okay, I use the input key T to use the potion, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to use the hotkeys. Let me get a bit of coffee. It's cold already. All right. So now we want to set the image of the item that we drag into our hotkey. So how are we going to do that? Well, luckily I already did it once, so we can take a look into the code. So the hotkey. So first you see that we have an image and we have a quantity text. We haven't created that yet. When we set the usable, we're also going to set the image. And we're also going to do something like that on refresh. Okay, so when we set the usable, we're going to take the usable icon and set it on our image. So right now we don't have any of those. Let's make it here. So set usable. Now we need to set the image. So we're going to be using Unity Engine.UI. And we're going to create two variables. One is going to be called, well, it's an image type, and it's going to be called image, like that, underscore, because it's private. You know my new standards for my variable naming. And we're also going to have a text called quantity text, and we're going to set these two on start. So image equals transform.find. Remember, I use transform.find if I'm not sure if there is more than one image under the hierarchy. If I know that the first image that I find within my hierarchy is the one I want, you can use get component in children. So I'm gonna use transform.find. I'm going to find it, I just call it image, and get component image, and then do the same but for our text. So it's going to be text, this is going to be quantity text, and then here quantity text. And now of course we have to create that in our prefab. So I'm going to create a UI image, and I'm going to create a UI text. And well, here we couldn't have used get component in children image because the first component in the children is on itself, so we wouldn't have been able to get this one. So yeah, we had to use transform.find. I'm going to rename this to quantity text. Actually, we shouldn't have removed that from the slots. Anyways, place it down on the right bottom. 1 0 0 0. Oh no, come on. This is 1, yes. Like that. And maybe 20. And it's going to be a 1. It's too far on the right, so I need to give it some, nope, something like that. 5, $30, and make it bigger. It's 50, and there you go. The quantity text of, like, maybe it's a cooldown, maybe it's how many lefts you have, or anything, because you remember the hotkey doesn't only have items, it can also have skills and other things like that. And I want to take a look at this. Where's your cat today? So Minxility, your live streams are awesome. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you like it. Where's your cat today? My cat is, I think she's already sleeping. Wait, let me see if she's up here. Momo, where are you? She's, I don't know, she's somewhere. She sleeps in random places. I think today we're a little bit later, so she's not as active yelling around, but yeah, she usually is around here. So okay, we have the image and we have the quantity text, which you would like to usually hide when you're not using it, and only use it when you set the when you set the usable. So right now we're going to keep the text as null, and now we are going to set it when we set the usable. So set image, we're going to, okay, see, this is one thing we have to add. The usable doesn't have an image because we don't know what kind of usable is. So we require our iUsable to have a field not a field, sorry, a property. This is one thing you can do with interfaces. You can make a property, since actually interfaces cannot have fields like variables. So I'm just going to copy from here, usable sprite, and I call it icon. You can call it image. I was inconsistent, I'm sorry about that. So usable, let's call it image. I was inconsistent, my bad. So this is a sprite. We cannot use a sprite. Why not? Because we need to use Unity Engine. So using Unity Engine, and there you go. So now this image, we can actually get it, and we need to let our HP Potion know what its image is. So I think we can just go and, so you see, it is blaming us that, hey, you don't have an image, so how can I give an image to people who ask me for an image? So we're just going to call make a public image, public void, not void, we need to return an image. So we're going to, using Unity Engine.UI. No, we don't return an image. Come on, Lucas. Think what you're doing. We return a sprite. Okay? That's why sometimes I don't like using the word image. It's confusing. So we are returning a sprite image. And we are going to return, do we have here, because we're already extending item, does item have an image with it? No, it does not have an image. So because items must have an image, right? So I was thinking, where do their image come from? So for example, in the one I already made, I have the sprite here. So, well, I actually just got the image component. So that's how you do it. Okay, I'm just gonna copy this. I think Lucas from the past week is more clever than Lucas from 3 a.m. in the morning. So I'm not going to make the function there. No, here in HP Potion. I'm not going to make the function here. I'm just going to make it like a property up here. Let's pretend it's something like a variable. You can call it a variable, but it actually has a get and return method. So is a property. So I call it image on my iUsable script. So there you go. The complaint is gone, and now I can actually just get the component from get component. If your hierarchy is different, if you should get component in children, or just make your own reference to an image, whatever you want, as long as you can return a sprite. Now if we go back to the hotkey, we can set the image here. So underscore image dot sprite equals usable dot image. It could be sprite too. We could call it sprite. Whatever. Who cares? You guys be better than me at naming, please. So, oops, I realized I forgot to change the name of this live stream. Sorry about that, guys. I just realized I don't want you to feel tricked into watching one of the RPG series episodes. So, let's try it now. Remember to apply this prefab so that all the hotkeys have the image and the quantity text. And play. And now if I get the potion and I drag it here, there you go. We have the potion on the slot. And now if I press 1, it's used, but then this is still here. We have to refresh the slot. So let's go to hotkey bar. We're going to do it the easy way. We're just going to refresh all the slots. I mean, not all the slots, all the hotkeys at the same time, because it's a computer game. It's only 9 hotkeys. We don't need to worry too much. If this was a game that you're making with very limited resources, then I would recommend you to remember what hotkey do you want to refresh and only refresh that one. That means that your item, your iUsable, should have a reference to the hotkeys that it is assigned to. And then when you use your item, you get all the hotkeys that were assigned to that item, and then you refresh only those hotkeys. But to make it easier, we're just going to refresh all the hotkeys, and that's it. So we're going to make a function in hotkey controller. Where is it? Let's find it here. Hotkey controller. And let me read the comments. Memexility. Do you wake up at 3 a.m.? Oh my god. No, I don't wake up at 3 a.m. I just don't sleep at all. That's my secret. Sleep? No, never. I sleep with one eye and then I sleep with the other eye. Color red. Oh, 3 a.m. It's 21 and here in Germany, so it's 9 p.m. That's nice. I think 9 o'clock, like 9 or 10 at night, is my favorite time. I usually like to go have a walk at the time. So yeah. Inconsistent light endings, yes, please. We're going to make a public function. Refresh hotkeys. And very simple, here just make a for each hotkey in hotkeys. For each hotkey in hotkeys, we're going to call hotkey.refresh. And hotkey.refresh will check if it needs or not to remove the icon and do all that stuff. So let me see how I did it, how my past self did it. Where is it? Hotkey bar here. Hotkey bar. Refresh hotkeys. Yes, I did the same. I'm glad I'm still thinking like my past self. We refresh the hotkey, so each hotkey refresh. So with refresh we set the quantity text. Okay, so here I made one case for each type of usable. Right now we just have item, so if the usable is an item, we can do something. Then if the usable is, let's say, skill, we don't have skills yet, but when we do, we will do something different. So I'm just going to do it like that. Here in hotkey refresh. So our first case is if usable is item. Yes, so far so good. Do you guys mind if I just copy? I'm really tired, so I'm just going to go through it. The quantity text, we want to set the quantity text. We now know is an item, so we can get the things from the usable as an item, and then we can directly access the quantity. So if the item have an icon, we could do something similar. When we set the icon, we should just get it as an item and then get the icon from the item. But the usable can have its own icon. Is also good because then we don't have to make so many cases. For here, however, we want to have different cases because items might refresh, and when you used all your items, it's gonna be gone. For other things like skills, maybe you have a cooldown, or it will never actually disappear because you cannot run out of your own skill. Those kind of things. So let's see what's next. If the quantity is 0, we want to set everything, remove it. And actually I want to set the usable as no. I don't know why I removed that here there. But so if the usable as an item, because item we can get the quantity, if the usable as an item, the quantity of that usable is less or equals to 0, we're going to set the image to null. So image.sprite equals null. We're going to set the quantity text to null too. And we're going to set the usable to null. Because our item is gone, we cannot keep using it, so we're going to get rid of that usable. We cannot use it anymore. So that will happen when we refresh the item. But when do we refresh it? When do we call refresh hotkeys from here? When do we call this function? Well, let's ask past Lucas. So hotkey bar, refresh hotkeys, references. Oh yeah, when we use a usable, we should also call refresh hotkeys. So whenever we use a hotkey, so actually this here, I think now I can think better than my past Lucas. I place this refresh hotkeys when you use the item, but then you have to place it on every item, every skill. That's not very smart. So just to keep it simple right now, we're going to put it here in use usable. So whenever someone tries to use the hotkey, so you know this is the hotkey. Do I need to make my text bigger? Guys, you should tell me these things earlier. Is it better? Alright, I was saying, whenever someone tries to use a hotkey, we're going to refresh all the hotkeys. Or we could just refresh this hotkey or whatever. And it should be after we use the usable. Because if I refresh before I use it, then I don't know if the potion is I drink all my potions or whatever happened to my cooldown. But if I do it later, then it's gonna work perfectly. So hotkeys, hotkey bar controller, sorry, hotkey bar controller dot refresh, no, instance, to rush refresh hotkeys. So now we can actually try it. I think, and I hope that there will be no errors. Okay, so Chris says that the text size was fine as it was before. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller then. Thank you. Thank you for commenting and replying. It feels so good when I can actually make the video and talk to you guys at the same time. So now I'm gonna pick the potion and I'm going to place it here. Now we got it up here and up here, and if I use one, it worked. Yeah. Okay. Let's try it again. Sorry guys, I'm too excited. Even though it worked before, it works again and it makes me happy. That's the magic of loving something. So I'm gonna okay, something went really wrong. What happened? It feels like I use it somehow. I didn't press 1. I don't know what happened. Let me do it again. I take it, I put it here, and then if I try to drag it again, nothing happens. I put it here. Okay, I think I pressed a wrong key just now. And if I use any of these, I'm gonna press 3. All of them disappear. This number here should not be 0. I don't know what's wrong. Let me check that. Hotkey. Oh, this is the copy. Wait. Oh no. Oh yes. This is the copy. So this is the correct one. This is the one we're doing today. Like, I'm a little bit mixed up because I have a copy and I have one which is not a copy. So RPG Scroller, you can read the title here, and this one is the copy. So the one with 2 potions is the one that I did in the past, and that's the copy as you see there. So here when I refresh, what happens with refresh? If the quantity is less or equals to 0, quantity text dot text, that's what was happening. I was setting the quantity text, that's the actual object. We wanted to set the text within it to null. So now we can actually do it. Or now actually, if you guys want to be more clear, you can just set it to that, which is actually null for strings. So now we try again and we should be fine. We should have gotten read in. My English is starting to get so messy. We are going to get rid of those zeros in our hotkey bar. So if I use something like 4, they're all gone. And now we can try to have more potions and see if there's any error. So HP potion drop, I'm gonna make 2 more, put it to the right, put it to the right a little bit. And this is our final test for today. Maybe later we can clean this up. But it already took me like an hour. So 1 potion, 2 potions, 3 potions. We put it here and here, and I use 1. They all get updated correctly. And 2 and 3, and they're all gone. Yes, that's it, guys. We did it. And it only took us like an hour. Sorry, I didn't expect this to take so long. Oh yeah, the text size was fine as it was. So I'm gonna make it around this size. It's actually comfortable for me to have bigger text. So that's it. We did it. Congratulations. Now it's when the music starts playing. That song is called Triumphant Return, by the way. Any questions? Thank you for all those of you who are watching right now. It took long. It took us long. It took us like an hour. So I'm definitely going to edit the video and upload it again for anyone who wants to watch a short version of it. But I really felt happy talking to you guys while I was making this video and this episode. I want to discuss something, or not rather discuss, tell you guys about it, and it's about the RPG series. So I already determined what points we're going to go through. Which one is, it should be this one. So I determined what points we're going to cover, and we're going to be finished with this specific series. So I have a document on my Google Drive. Please wait a second. But basically we're like 7 episodes from the end. Let me see. Please hold on. Oh, there you go. I found it. So actually, I was trying to make. I don't mind showing you guys all of this. This is just something I wanted to do. So loot, we finished that in the previous lesson. Hotkey bar, we just finished it. So this is the things I want to cover on the RPG series. So items, loot, highlight, clickables. So I wanted to make a video, an episode whenever our mouse hovers something that we can actually click, it creates an outline around the 3D model or around the whatever we can click. I wanted to make skills like fireball or something like that, probably maybe some healing or something, some skill. Save, we're going to save with using JSON. We're going to make a shop so we can buy potions and weapons and other stuff. Oh yeah, we can add one more thing that a lot of people asked me in the past. Equipment. So how we equip a sword or a different piece of armor. We're going to see stats. So when we level up, we can modify our stats, and that will actually affect how strong we are. We're going to use the right click to block attacks from the mummies. That maybe, if you guys like this idea, we could do that. It's actually really simple. And finally, when we have everything else finished, we will finish the series with a boss fight. And that will be the last episode for the Scroller RPG series. There's a lot of things I want to teach. Unfortunately, I've been through a series of events. I've been through a series of unfortunate events that didn't allow me to make as many videos as I wanted to. So if anyone's still watching, let me check the chat. Is anyone still watching? Yeah, there's people watching. Thank you guys. You're so nice. I'll tell you my little secret. I have been working in a startup, and I prefer not giving detail, but I haven't been paid for several months, like many months. And you know, startups is really like, you can't tell what's going to happen in the future, and I tried my best all this time to make the startup get traction and get more money, and I was doing overtime trying to finish the jobs that we had so that everyone could get their salary, but money never came. I thought, okay, next month is going to come. It didn't come, and after many months without a salary, I can't do it anymore. I still need to pay my rent, right? I already used up all my savings, and yeah, so that's why I actually took the decision of quitting, and I'm going to pay my rent maybe from doing I don't know, like lessons. I used, when I was a student, I used to do English lessons and Spanish lessons. Um, and I hope that YouTube can help me somehow too. But yeah, for the rent, I think if I can have few English and Spanish students, it can be good enough for the rent. If I can't pay the rent, I probably will go back to my parents. But yeah, that's the life. Sometimes things happen. One, you take decisions and have to live with your decisions. I took the decision of staying in the startup even though it was not doing really well. I tried my best. It didn't happen, so it started to rain. But yeah, and I'm really happy. Even though it sounds like sad or anything, I'm really happy to be chatting with you guys now. Chris Winslow, you're commenting, it was good, well done. Sorry to hear that. No worries. It's good that you're going to work for yourself. Yeah, I'm really looking forward. I think this is what is in my mind right now. I worked for free for someone else for many months. I could have worked for myself for those months as well, and I feel like I don't feel regret, but I feel motivation to do it now and not to keep waiting. Yes, that's what is in my mind right now. So yeah. I hope now that I'm going to become full-time YouTuber for this channel. And actually I have another channel, but maybe I will tell you about that channel in the future. I will be able to make all these videos here that I had in mind long ago, like already 2 months ago. I want to teach you all these things. Actually, I could share this to you guys if you want. Make more animations in Unity, snapping stuff, change pivot point, JSON, system functions, like for example create text, link, and all the things that we can use from the system library. Making QR codes, making AR, taking screenshots, iTween, mirrors, making mirrors on Unity, water, glass, all these things I wanted to teach you guys because it's things I've been learning in the past 2 years. PHP, running exes from Unity, print from a printer, lerp, hash, singletons, and more. So Chris Winslow, check out a YouTube called Equilinox. You could have a system like him and make a full game and get decent donation. Okay, I will check how he's doing. I should check more stuff. Right now I have a person in my mind who is like how you call this? It's like a role model, someone who is an example of some lifestyle I would love to have, and that's Brackeys. I think if I want to be like Brackeys, I need to make much better content. I need to be much more regular, and I need to basically keep improving myself and keep improving my videos. I'm going to check Equilinox. Yeah, I think we could. I think it's possible. I could make games. I could make more videos, and even if I couldn't make money from it, I wouldn't really mind because I would do something that I really like. So I really want to thank you guys for supporting me and watching my videos and commenting. It really means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, games drag in a whole crowd. Nice. So I should really focus on making a game. Or make premium lessons. I love the way you make your tutorials. Thank you, Color Red. No, to make money. Maybe make an open source project as well, like a community game, like people can input their own stuff. I don't know. For the premium lessons, it sounds good. Yeah, a lot of people told me, hey, you should have premium lessons. I just can't make premium lessons because I don't know. I'm I don't want to charge money. Like maybe there's someone who really wants to learn and they don't have the money. I don't know. They say, oh, if they really want to learn, they will have a dollar to spare or something. Yeah, we could have some kind of premium content for patrons or something, but I don't want to start there. Maybe later in the future. Yeah. But yeah, that's a very good suggestion, Chris. The premium content is a good suggestion too. Making an open source project, yeah, that is also nice. Well, this is my last month working, so guys, please keep chatting with me. Remember to join the Discord server. We can keep chatting there and having more discussion and ideas, and see what I can do with you guys in the future. And from next month on, I'm going to be available like every day, really. So thank you so much again for watching, guys. I think I'm going to stop this live stream soon. Oh yeah, I'm gonna paste it again. Thanks for reminding me. So here, I'm gonna show you the Discord as well here. I'm not sure if I can show this. It should be alright. Here, that's the link to the Discord server, and yep, we already have 9 people, 10 people. Hi. I just saw you got in the server. So I made few channels so you can discuss there different things. Just feel free to post your stuff. Just feel free to talk with anyone. If we could have a community of people who like making games or like games and development, that would be awesome. So guys, thank you so much. I really need to sleep right now. Yeah, let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want to learn. Let me know what you want to talk about. And really, I don't know how to thank you for watching this video and staying with me. Yeah. Facebook. We could have a Facebook group or a Facebook page as well. I don't mind. I tried making Facebook pages in the past, and I never check Facebook. I'm not really a Facebook guy. I have an Instagram though. I upload like my life stuff. It's like just, I don't know, my cat, judo. Thanks, Chris. Thank you. So guys, hit me on Discord and tell me what you want to watch, and I will see you all on the next one. Thank you. I love you all. You guys are the best. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Bye bye.